Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Ask Father Binh. I'm Father Binh, and I'm so glad you are here. Each week, I take a question from one of our parishioners and do my best to provide a thoughtful and faith-filled response. Let's dive into today's question. Is masturbation a sin all the time for men or women? And is it automatically a venial or mortal sin? I'm glad that someone asked this question because as Catholics, we don't often talk about sex enough in the church or here outside the church. It is seen as sometimes a taboo issue. Masturbation is considered a sin in the teachings of the Catholic Church because it involves the deliberate use of the sexual faculty outside of its intended purpose, which is the unitive and procreative love within marriage. The Catechism of the Catholic Church, number 2352, describes it as an intrinsically and gravely disordered action. This means that objectively it is a serious matter. However, for a sin to be mortal, the Catechism says in paragraph 1857 that three conditions must be met. One, it must be a grave matter. Two, the person must have full knowledge. And three, give deliberate consent. Masturbation is a grave matter, but whether it constitutes a mortal sin depends on the individual's level of knowledge and freedom in committing the act. The Catechism goes on to say that one must take into account the affective immaturity, force of acquired habit, conditions of anxiety, or other psychological or social factors that lessen, if not even reduce to a minimum, moral culpability. In such cases, while the act remains sinful, it may not meet the full criteria for mortal sin. The Church calls all people to chastity, which involves integrating sexuality into one's life in a way that reflects God's design. Do people always live up to God's plan and design? No. For those struggling with this sin, the Church recognizes frequent reception of the sacraments, especially confession and the Eucharist, as well as prayer, self-discipline, and seeking support when needed. If this is a struggle for someone, they should not despair, but instead trust in God's mercy and grace to help them grow in virtue. God's love is greater than any sin, and He desires to help us overcome temptations and our weaknesses. Thank you for your question, and may God bless you. Keep sending in those questions, and I will see you next time.